Hello, fellow Hattrickers, and welcome to our Hattrick Direct Twitch channel. It's been a while, but here we are, ready to start streaming regularly again. My name is Chase, I'm the community manager at Hattrick, and today I'm joined here by Tasos and Johan, product owner and CEO respectively, to present the results of your votes. On one hand, we will reveal the results of the Mythbusting Survey that we conducted a couple of months ago. And on the other hand, we will see where the next World Cup and the next Nations Cup will take place. So let's start with this. As you may already know, we decided to run a poll on Instagram to decide which two countries will hold these two tournaments. Of course, it's just symbolic. Hosting a tournament means nothing else than having the name of this country as a host. No benefits for anyone at all. However, the response has been so enthusiastic that several users without an Instagram account expressed disappointment for not being able to vote. So we opened a poll on the Hattrick forum itself. And now we have the results. Let's see them. These are the results of the Nations Cup. So, Johan, what can you say about this?
Well, it looks like my favorite came in last, so I'm not. I don't have any special powers, but we have a clear winner, which is Nigeria. Even though they came a little short in the forum, there was much bigger support in Instagram there. So Nigeria is the winner. Then Tanzania and Botswana comes second and third. So congratulations to Nigeria. I think it's a worthy place to host in Africa.
Surely. Let's see the World Cup results.
Yeah.
These are it.
Okay, so yeah, what can we say here? I mean, I guess we have an Anglo-Saxon preference here, so the results are pretty clear. Yeah, in my real world football team, we made a very nice recruitment from Canada last year, so I'm happy to send it to Canada. It's a nice country. They're all very nice.
Yeah, here the difference is quite big.
Yeah,
both in the forum and on Instagram, especially in the forum in this case.
Yeah, I guess the reason that we chose candidates from these two continents is to give balance over time, because they had not been represented as hosts as frequently. So that's why we did the choice of those countries. Yeah, Canada and Nigeria, I think it's pretty perfect.
Yes, it was clear that it had to be America and Africa, right?
Yeah, this time it was. I think we'll see next time what comes.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got some comments here saying that your face cam is frozen. Yeah, but at least it's frozen in a good, way.
But it's frozen. Is it frozen?
Yeah, now it's frozen, not in such a good way. You look better before that.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's strange. Should I stop the cam and come back, maybe see if it's better?
As you want. I think it's fun. I think it's fun to have you this way.
Okay. I'll see if I can restart it.
As you prefer. Okay. You still look frozen.
All right. Well, I don't know. I'm not. I'm at the end of a very complicated logistics week here. So I ended up at my parents' place in the countryside just a few hours ago for Christmas. So I guess the network is not as good as it usually is. But I think in future streams it will be better.
Or maybe it's just you're sleepy.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we present the results of the Mythbusting Survey?
Sure. I just read a comment and I laughed out loud that HT servers are on Johan's PC.
Well, Actually, I could go out right now into my parents' garage and show you the original Hattrick servers, because from '99, they're still there, used as shelves for my father's tools. I just didn't have the heart to throw them away. So, but we're not using them at the moment for the game. It's a long since they were out of commission.
Okay, so
Welcome
let
from.
me-
So are we going to Mythbusting Survey now?
Okay.
Yeah, give us some background to why we did it. I think
So
because I think a lot of people um, maybe got the wrong expectations from this survey. Thought it was basically a poll on future features that we want to do, but it's not really that. It was more a way for us to clarify some assumptions that we had made over the years, right, Tassos? Can you tell me a
yeah,
little more?
so back in August, we start discussing internally how we see Hattrick future, and we always had these questions between us, like, do we want this or do we want that? And ideas that users used to propose in the forum that we always tend to just reject because we thought that no one wants to. And we said that what's better than just clear up these kind of assumptions,
Yeah.
make sure that what we thought that we know is actually true.
Yeah.
Because all those are features that we either didn't want ourselves or we thought that no one else wants to. So yeah, that was mostly about clearing like the view of like the future view, but rather than prioritize our product roadmap based on that. No one said that we are not going to pick one of those in the future. It's not like that we will never do that, but the intention isn't to prioritize features out of this survey.
okay.
So we started early November, and it lasts about 3 weeks. Yeah, can you move to a little bit to see the numbers? So here are the numbers. We see that 40% of the users that we actually invited the whole user base, all Hattrick users. 40% of them answered, while 70% rejected. They didn't want to give an answer. And we had like 43% just ignoring, let that stay in my office. Um, and that's quite nice because last time that we had a survey, I think it was 2021, those that answered was 35%. So we somehow managed to increase the engagement on surveys. Is there still some noise in the background?
No, I removed. I muted Johan's mic
Okay.
because we can hear all the family on holidays. So sorry, Johan. If you want to say anything, now I muted you.
Yeah. Okay. I accept your your action there. I can mute myself. I'm gonna mute. Bye bye.
So after the end of the survey, we give reward points to everyone that participates, and they can exchange those points if they get a lot of them in supporter or in credits. But just like since we are all of us like number nerds, if we can exchange them to credits, then we gave up to 320,000 credits to the community with this survey. We hope that you enjoy playing some tournaments with that. Okay, so let's start. The first two questions. Actually, before I start I just want to let you know that the numbers that you see here are for the overall community, like all the answers together. But when we analyze the results, we created small groups that make sense for us to analyze. Like we wanted to see how new users and old users gave answers. We wanted to see how top division, like expert users, answer compared to users to lower divisions that might not know the game game so much. And of course, we want to see how supporters and non-supporters engaged with the answers. So here you see all the answers together, but I will probably comment a little bit and give you some hints about how other groups perform in each question. So the first two was about how the users, what the users believe for Hattrick, what they feel about it. And the first one was if we have like a casual tempo, like Hattrick is a slow game and you don't need a lot of time to play every week. And it's quite clear that most of them, if we see like the right side, agree with this. And even more, like here is the first hint, like supporters agree even more. So yeah, I'm not gonna delay a lot. Actually, just wanted to mention that this will not be a pure presentation. If you want to ask anything about a specific question, just write it on the comments. And Chase, we're gonna pick it up and let me know and say like stop talking.
Okay.
So I'm gonna answer it. We don't need to wait for that to end to answer any questions.
I just found a comment here that's funny. It's not a question, but I'd like to highlight it.
Yeah, I'm so annoyed sometimes. I will try to be less annoying, especially in global and backstage, but I will do my best. And I know that this specific user, I have been really annoyed to him because I want to push him to give real arguments and make sure that he gets his best out of it. I always say the same thing, that we prefer to hear negative comments rather than positive comments. But what I mean with that is that opinion is just an opinion, anyone can share it, but real arguments is what makes the difference. When someone explains why he doesn't like something, that's the value. It's actually priceless for us when we hear why someone doesn't like one of the changes. So yeah, I did this to the user. It was, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago that I pushed him a lot to give him arguments.
And actually, I think if I read correctly, it says who I so annoy on the backstage. So maybe he means he annoys you. So it's a double-sided thing.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Okay, yeah, I read it as who is so annoying. Okay, nice.
But at the same time, it's good that he sees your face, your real face, because you look so similar to your avatar. You're exactly the same.
I think that, and that's a nice thing, that Hattrick doesn't only provide us with a really engaged and happy community and a game that everyone loves, but can give you a new hairstyle. So for those that don't know, my avatar is quite similar to me. It's with a big hairstyle.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, so next one. Hattrick is a text-based game. It's heavily based on text, not so, and emphasizing the storytelling rather than in high-end graphics. And again, this is something that everyone kind of agree, and only a small percent express a disagreement in every group that we check the results to. Okay.
I can say there's a comment. This is like one of the most common things that we have always heard from outside. Like if people try to give us advice, but they don't know the user base, they always say, "Oh, you have to go 3D. You have to do this or that because all the other games are doing that." And so it's quite easy to get lost because you have that pressure, and also sometimes from Hattrick users. But it's nice to see that there is a conviction among the users that this is a nice quality in the game.
Okay, so what else?
Next one. So we get into the features now, like ideas, and this is one of the most popular. I mean, I might have answered this question in forum like every month, maybe more often, and this is something that users ask for quite a lot. And as we see here, the majority looks like they want it. However, it's one of the most controversial feature one that if actually we have analyzed it quite a lot, and it's almost clear that it will be full of loopholes like cheating, and there is no clear way how you can make it stable and without letting any user outside to cheat the system, like exchanging players with friends or whatever that could be. And that's quite visible when we filter out to top users, like top division users. The negative value doubled. So we reached almost 40% in negative, and we dropped on the positive. So that's kind of give us the idea that users that are for a lot of time in Hattrick think similar with us. Like they believe the same, that having a system that even if you design a lot, that means that you will not have it as many believe to. However, new users were particularly fonded for this one, but I guess we come up to the same conclusion.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's something that would bring a lot of satisfaction, because one of the things that it's sometimes frustrating when you're training is, oh damn, I have this player and I cannot train him because I'm training, let's say, this other thing. But at the same time, it's so complicated to implement without having some problems, let's call it like that, or loopholes, as you mentioned. So there are lots.
I mean, it's an example of where the assumption, or like what kind of system are we actually asking about? I mean, can you loan for 2 seasons, or is it one match? You know, I mean, it makes an enormous difference. So if it's just for storytelling and for like building relationships with other teams, it's a very limited system. Maybe that would be easy to control and quite fun to have. But if it's like as a way to just maximize your training and being able to train 50 players at a time, it would be very hard to do something, control it. But
as we can see it in the comments, it's one of the most controversial.
Yeah, I'm just reading the comments. Half of them say, "Yeah, we want loans," and the other one like, "It's the end of the fairness game."
No, it's the end of Hattrick, and Hattrick will disappear overnight if you introduce it.
But yeah, as I said, if we ever find the system that can make it sure that there is not unfair, then who knows? Maybe we will have it in the far away future.
But it's really, really, really tricky and controversial.
Yeah.
Shall we move to the next one?
Yes, please.
This one.
So accelerated player training. So we increase the training speed even more. So we see players develop even faster. Again, this was accepted overall. They have like an overall support both from new users and supporters. However, again, top division users were against it. We see that the negative area, like the left one, increased quite a lot. And this is a comment that I want to say that from almost every question, when we filter out the top division and the old users, we see that they were reluctant on changes. So we see a shift from new users being positive on changes and top division users are negative on changes. So this is something that we need to consider anytime. It was like a really valuable information out of this survey. Yeah, there's nothing I want to say here. It's just like one of the rest that if we decide to do, there are some side effects that need to be handled correctly. We did it a few years ago, and we are in the position we are now. It's stable, but if we do it again, we need to have other side projects together with this one.
I have this comment by LA Alpa.
Yeah, that's true. It's as I said, whenever we do a survey or whenever we do it in backstage, it's not a popularity contest. We don't ask to vote, so the best one will win. It's the argument that makes sense for us. So if someone can explain why something is bad for the game, even if it is 1 against 100, that's the one that we are going to hear, because we need the best for the game. And the best is not always popularity contest. There are many arguments against that. It's true. It's the minority, but they have playing the longest. That's another argument. We can say that they might be few, but in order to be in the top divisions, this means that they have been with Hattrick for maybe a decade, even more. That means they know Hattrick from inside out.
And this comment is also very interesting.
Well, that's not entirely correct, because if you train faster, you end up with higher skills, which end up with higher ratings in the matches. And I don't want to get into a lot of maths, but higher ratings means more unpredictable results, which is something that I guess no one wants to.
There's also maybe the possibility, I think it was related to what we will see next, of setting a cap maybe, but training faster. And then you can have like players from 25 to 30 years old at their prime, and the prime for longer. Not like now that bigger teams have players that are 30, 31, 32, and then they will decline. So maybe it's something to consider.
Yeah, as I said, every one of these questions is feasible as long as they come with some other projects that will counter the side effects. But it's not like individual projects that can come without any problems.
Okay, let's move on.
Yep. That's one of my favorites. It's so divided that you can literally cannot take any value out of that. It's like half of the users want to have more league matches, the other half they don't. So it's quite funny, and I think it's really, really difficult to take a decision here and double the amount of matches, because we know that we are going to get a lot of users angry. But what we can do is to increase other kind of competitions, give more options, give more things to do, like fun things for the users that want more active week in their schedule. So maybe that's something we can consider in the future. But I think with this kind of results on this question, it's really hard to take a decision towards one side.
Yeah, and I mean, there's another factor, and that is the that a lot of users might want more matches, but then they get tired of the game, because like you stay with Hattrick because it's a game that doesn't demand too much. I mean, at least that you can go down in activity in periods and still be competitive. And then if you feel it's no longer possible, that might like change your perception of the game. So I think it's quite fundamental for us. But yeah, it's still important to consider. I think maybe one more match would be possible.
There's this comment here by Merant. We will need more official international tournaments. Yes, but I don't know if that would solve that. There will be more official tournaments, but for a few, right? I don't know if he means like a solution for this, or it's just a completely new idea. But is this something that we could consider?
I mean, you could have an international club tournament for more than the top league levels. You could have for Division 5 also. That could be quite cool. Then you would have many more teams involved, for example.
Chase, can you mark one comment from Identity Shaker? Because it's like 5, 6.
Is it quite
Identity
up?
Shaker.
Yeah, you mean the one directed to me? Because
no,
there's one directed to me. What's the time?
It says instead of 2 matches per week, 9:55. Actually, that's my time, I guess.
Okay, yeah, I see
Yeah,
it.
it's 8-5.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to comment on this one. We recently have a discussion in Backstage, like the forum that we invite many users to join and give us feedback. And having a proper update in youth academies is something that we are going to discuss in 1 or 2 seasons when we find the time in Backstage and see exactly this, how we can bring more, how we can make youth academies more fun. And that means anything. I mean, giving more options, making them more competitive. I know Johan has an idea for years in global about having more proper league structures for youth academies. But that's something that we can consider.
Any other comment that you want to highlight? We have lots of comments and questions.
No.
Okay. Next one.
Next one. Division salary cap. So that was again, that was one of the questions that when we reading the answers in the global forum, when we opened the survey, there were many users that had second thoughts. They didn't understand the question well, because there are kind of loopholes here. Like one division is not the same with another league from another country. Like third division in Italy is not the same third division in Greece. So there is this kind of details that we need to consider if we ever implement something like that. However, that was one of the questions that got quite mixed responses among all the groups. So when we filter like supporters, old, new users, top users, there was always like up and downs without any clear view on this one. I would personally, I would like that. I would love to have this one. I think it's a nice way to kind of force fair competition, but it has side effects that need to be handled correctly, and that's not an easy one. So I would say that it's kind of difficult.
This is one of the side effects, probably.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a bad or a good thing. I mean, we want to. That's a side effect that we need to counter. I mean, if we give more reasons for regular teams to engage with national teams, like give more reasons for them to train players to be close to national teams, there won't be any reasons for anti-farms. So yeah, I don't think that's a really bad change.
But maybe this is not the right time to throw in a new idea, but like this idea of tying a salary cap to your income. So the team income, your salary can only be a factor of your income. That way, it's not a very. I mean, it's not a absolute limit. You can control it somehow. And a team with a lot of fans would have a higher salary cap. And if you don't have maybe silly expenses, you would also be able to spend more money on salary caps, on the salary. But I think, I mean, there's a lot of ways to go with this that doesn't make it so so extreme or so decisive. But yeah.
Yeah, that's there's another comment say that we're gonna force everyone to play with old players, and that's kind of true, because right now old players in age they have lower salary compared to younger players. So that's also a side effect that need to be countered if ever we bring divisional salary caps to the game. So yeah, you can see, like, from 2 minutes of discussion, we have identified 2-3 side effects. So and that's kind of the common reason that these questions appear in the myth busting, because they are so complicated that there is no one single solution, that you have all like a whole ecosystem that you need to handle around that idea.
Yeah. Okay,
Next one. Halftime tactical adjustments. So this is again something that in the survey we got a lot of nice results, but in the forum we had some strong, loud voices. People didn't like it, and I think there are some ways that I can see this feature coming up. I mean, I would love to, but maybe not in official matches. Like maybe we can have it in single matches or tournaments, and only if both users agree before. So let's say that I send a single match request to Johan, and I say, Johan, we play a game tomorrow, and do you want to have halftime tactical adjustments? And then we are kind of forced to follow the match live, and on 45 minutes on the halftime, we do changes, and that's it. No one is forced to do it, and of course not in official matches. I can already read like three comments. They don't like it.
Yeah. What's clear is that you cannot implement this if both managers have not agreed previously on using this option, because you cannot force them to be online.
Exactly. I think we should never do that if it is by default, like, or forcing option to any kind of game. It should be optional and only if they both agree. And again, for non
and maybe of course no, but I mean, imagine a World Cup final where they have both agreed, but you know, the added drama of being able to adapt to what's happening in the match is pretty cool. But yeah, I think this question is also, of course, we would never do it for all matches. It would be very bad for the game, I think.
Next
What
one.
about this one?
So customizable individual training. So you can choose players and give them a different kind of training setup. So not only across your team, but for each player differently. And this was a widespread supported idea from kind of all the teams, and especially new users had even higher enthusiasm about this idea. Of course, again, this is not so easy. You need to handle all the side effects from this, but as I said, that's a common problem in all these questions. I don't really have something. I mean, there have been ideas in the forum, both in backstage and in global, having maybe a staff member that can give that to you. So it's not like you can give every player individual order, but a staff member can give you 1, 2, 3, maybe. And that's something we don't have plans, we don't have even discussed, but I think it's the least scary idea from the rest.
Yeah, and as I can see, not only for us, but for the users that are watching, because the previous one was really, as we could see, very controversial. And this one, yeah, what we can see is things like this. That would be very cool.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. It's
so good. This one is one of the clearest ones, I would say. What about this one?
ooh, yeah, that's a bad one. High speed
Yeah.
match option. So we kind of have it for tournaments and unofficial matches, but bring that to official match. It was a clear no, and that was not only for like the overall, but kind of all groups felt the same. Uh, they kind of like to sit in front of their laptop for 90 minutes reading the text, and that's impressive. I mean, reducing that to 45 or 30 or whatever that will be is something that not the majority want to.
Yeah, it's a slow-paced game, as we said. Even watching the match is slow, but also if you want to watch the match quickly, just wait until the end of the match and watch everything. So I don't think and that this is important as well. Comments like this one,
That's true, huh?
very short streams.
Yeah, but it's nice to get this clarity, you know. Now we don't have to think about that anymore. So.
Okay,
So
this one.
This one. So the idea is that we increase the number of teams every series has. Instead of 8 teams, we have like 16 teams, something like that. And that will lead to more promotion and demotion. So the season, of course, we need to, if we don't want to double the matches, we need to increase the season length to achieve that. So you might need more time to promote, but having more promotes might counter that idea. We can see that overall, all the groups like it, new users even more. And I mentioned that new users were positive in almost every change, almost any idea. So it might be boring to mention it every time. But that was overall positive question.
Mhm. Would that change, just to be clear, would that change the birthdays of players?
Yeah,
Is
that's that's something that you need to consider. I mean, because right now it's so clear that one season means one season for your league, one season for your player age. It's kind of sit one next to the other. So if you change the one, it's not necessary that you change the other, but it will make things less obvious.
Yeah, and this is also something to consider.
Yeah, that's I think even if it's one of those users that you need one of those questions that you need to take the hard decision that I'm gonna dissatisfy many users because it's kind of for the good, because there's this kind of effects that not many will consider, like us this last comment. And you need to take that hard decision that no, I'm not gonna do that even if many users want it, but it's for the long term good of the game. So yeah, I would say if you do that, it's most probably things to consider that we cannot come up right now.
What about this one?
Create a taller divisional structure with more levels, making promotion and demotion easier. So yeah, that's a kind of huge project. The idea is that that we have like the pyramid structure. So instead of making that, you push that like that, you have more divisions or less division, depends on what you want to, and have more promotions and demotions based on that. That's a kind of different approach to the previous question. This was accepted similarly to the other one, but even the previous one was somehow the same for all groups. However, this one, when we filtered to the top league, top division teams, they didn't like it. So the positive thing dropped and the negative increased quite a lot.
I mean, what we can say here is that this has actually been done before. We did change the whole league structure a long time ago when Hattrick started growing a lot, and so I think it's not unprecedented to change it. To get a shape that fits where the game is now better, and that's why I'm not so afraid of this one, even though it would be a messy transition. But
I was thinking something similar of this comment, because if you have more levels to go through, that is, if I'm now in the 7th division, it would take me, if I'm very good, 7 seasons to get to the first league. But if there's not a pyramid structure, but it's like this, it would take me like 20 seasons to get to the top if I'm very good. So
but I mean, I think like maybe Hattrick's biggest problem is that it's so hard, like to go from fifth division to fourth division, and then from fourth to three. Like the difference in skills is so big, and like if we force more league levels, it's gonna be easier for the team that is building up and doing all the right moves to progress, because the difference will not be so big between each league level. So like I would like the teams to there to be more mobility in the league levels, but of course there's a lot of other factors playing into that, why we have that situation. Also, like training and the speed of training and a lot of other stuff, economy and so on. But I think in there is something valuable to consider there for sure.
Just a short comment that it's also psychological effect. I mean, if you promote more often, even if you have a longer way than today, that's kind of that's a satisfaction of the promotion kind of help. I'm not in favor of this change, but I'm just saying that having more promotions compared to a long journey, it's not always worse than having less promotions in a short-term journey. Yeah.
Okay.
Next
Next,
one.
this one is clear.
Yeah, that was clear. Like very few expressed disagreement on this one, and the idea is that we bring a similar training system from the youth to the seniors. So the way that you have it in the youth academy is that you choose the primary and the secondary training. So you have like two versions, two options. Of course, the first one train faster, the second one less. But the idea is that you don't focus on one single training only. There are some things to consider if we ever do that, but that's a clear guess from all the groups.
I don't see comments about this one, so I guess everybody agrees. Yeah, training changes are the most needed. Okay. Yeah, it's true that sometimes if you're training like multi-skilled players now, because many years ago you were mainly training in, let's say, playmaking, and you had midfielders that were very good in playmaking. That was it. But if you want to make very complete players, you need to train lots of things. So and play players out of position. So that would be maybe something interesting, like in the youth team. Okay, so what else do we have here?
Yeah. So that's one again that maybe our mistake that we didn't clear that a lot. There was some kind of confusion in the forum. So the idea was that we don't we don't have a limit on the skills in the youth players. So right now, when you scout a player, you say that okay, that player can go up to this one, up to this level and up to this level. So the idea that you only start with the minimum and you can train whatever you want to up to whatever you want to, not 7, not 6, not 8, whatever you want. And that was we can see like a 38% there, but we see also some that they're not entirely sure. And it was kind of similar to every group. We didn't have any group pushing to the other side or having a totally different opinion compared to what we see here. Yeah, it's an idea that we can consider. I personally, I don't have a strong opinion. I'm not fan or neither against it. But
Yeah, I'm quite unsure on this one as well. It could be nice. It could be okay.
Yeah, it's like Steve Rafe is saying there. I mean, he's saying that the max skill is a nice thing. We should have it in the main game as well. So it's either or. Like it would be nice to converge the way it works in youth. It should work the same in the senior game, but which one should go where?
Yeah, we could revert them.
Yeah, exactly. To really confuse everyone.
Okay,
But yeah,
this one.
the comment that you marked that we should
Yeah,
bring the skill caps to the senior teams instead, that's something I would like to bring to backstage. I mean, that's an interesting one. Right now, every player ends up being the same. You see the same setup of the same players in top divisions. If you bring this, of course, it will kind of mess up the market. You are going to spend a lot of time to find the players you want to. But if you don't overdo it, if you don't have like a really crap and really great players, so if you give some kind of balance, then that might be an idea to consider in like
Yeah, I
getting
mean,
more
just that
feedback.
not everyone can reach Titanic, or I mean, like you can have it can still be generous,
Yeah.
reasonably generous, but and of course it would have to be a rolling change because we can't change players that already exist. But I
yeah.
also think it has some promise.
Maybe then it should be linked to the double training, maybe, because then we will have some players that would have reached the gap while others wouldn't. So it would be, I think it would be a very interesting change, but it needs to, well, it has some things to consider.
So next one, dynamic ticket pricing. This
Yeah,
is something that I really like personally, but I kind of agree that this is a micromanagement, uh, like extra micromanagement. However, whenever you introduce this kind of feature, you need to make sure that there will be a default, like, or an easy mode and an advanced mode. So whoever wants to do that is not forced. So it won't be for everyone. But if you want to do this kind of micromanagement, you want to analyze your previous season, you want to make that extra effort, why not? You can do it. And we can see that we have neutral responses a lot compared to other questions, and quite like 50% as we see, like kind of positive, and new users were even more enthusiasm about it. Well, ticket pricing would affect inflation. I'm not sure if you mean positive or negative, but that depends a lot, because you can still bring some limitations. You can balance it in a way that no one can get extreme tickets. I mean, if you have really expensive tickets, then less people come to the stadium because they don't want to pay to see your team. So you kind of balance that. It's not like you are gonna triple the tickets and everyone will come to the stadium to see your team.
you want to
Yeah.
see the last one? Are you reading this one?
Yeah, that's exactly what I say. That that's a not popularity contest. If we ever do that, we need to analyze the arguments against or in favor of a feature. It's not like, okay, that one has like 51%. We are gonna do that. You need to analyze and make sure that whatever you do is for the good of the game, and that's not necessary the majority of users what they want to. But yeah, I don't think that this is a bad feature. It's just like, again, it's not in our plan. We haven't considered that we haven't prioritized based on the survey, but I don't see that as something that can bring the end of the Hattrick game.
I think the best question of the evening is the next one.
Yes, I was going to highlight this one. Yeah, I love
Okay.
it.
Anyone that has been to football in Germany knows that this is very reasonable request.
Actually, from one of the past surveys, we had a question asking if users want more facilities, like more buildings to build around their stadiums, more things like hot dogs sale points, or like creating their parking slots. Yeah, I need more, and it was impressive how many users want it. Maybe something we can consider.
But it has to be currywurst, not hot dogs. Yeah. No.
Okay, next one.
Just to make sure that there is, I don't know if that was a comment, like real new users.
Oh yeah, it's this one.
Yeah, I need to check it, but as a definition of new user, actually old user was someone who has playing the game for more than 1 year. So a new user is not 1, 2, 3 weeks or months. It's more than a year. But I can check and see if I included returning users. It's been quite a long that I did this analysis, so I need to refresh my memory.
Okay.
This hurts a lot because from game design perspective, this is one that I really like, but not many wanted to. It can solve so many problems in the transfer market, which actually the way that works is that you have a minimum required price, and then everyone can bid, but no one else can see the bids from the other players. That's kind of force the actual value of the player to be the one that will end up with. I really like that one when I read it as a suggestion, but yeah, it's clearly that it kind of loses this engagement that I bid and then another one bids and then another one, and you have these bid wars, which is fun. Again, from design perspective, it's nice one. From engagement, from community perspective, not so good, and that's why we get this kind of negative feedback, which was notable in all the groups.
There are some interesting comments here as well. I don't know if you want me to highlight any of these.
Bid wars are fun for the owner.
Yeah, there's this one, but I don't think that could be a problem. I mean, if you don't want managers to bid on their own players, you just don't let them.
Well, there is always there are two kind of groups. I mean, we can agree with disagree on that. I mean, all the researchers in game design have shown that sealed bid auctions have better results for the economies. But yeah, I can provide some resource about it. When I read this one, I look about it a lot. But again, there are up and downs, and in this one, engagement, fun activities, community is the one that wins. So yeah, it's a no for because we see the reasons, and yeah, like it's fun for the owner, not for the buyer, because it's so stressful. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's hard to determine the outcome with sealed bids. At the same time, I don't know, I have the feeling that with sealed bids I wouldn't win any. I don't know why. Or if I win it, maybe I overpaid.
Exactly. If you win it, you will always feel that you overpaid.
So you either want it a lot or you underpay something and say, oh, okay, maybe I don't buy it, and you end up not buying it. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's one. If we wanted to have like proper answers on this one, we needed to link to the wiki page about what that cap system means. And I think that's the reason that we see a lot of neutral, positive, negative. There is not like a clear trend. Yeah, I see the second time I didn't say can make this comment that this slide has 101 sum. I think we need to blame Apple because this is an automatically created chart by their own numbers, and it's obviously because of rounding, but Apple should do that better.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same view. It's for all the groups. We haven't seen anything significant. Maybe a little bit higher to the top division users. Like, I mean, they like it slightly more, but not significantly more. So
Should we
yeah,
explain a little bit? Because now, how do we have, what's the system now?
well, now it's that.
It's hard to explain.
Yeah, no. The difference is on one inspired by 10 is that top rank players will never face each other
Mhm.
in the first early rounds. It's kind of similar, but yeah, it's hard to explain without visualizing. Maybe that's a good one. We can do like a visualization and present how this works and the difference one. Maybe that could be a nice Instagram post.
Okay, we'll prepare it. Okay, any other questions that you want to highlight?
No. Let's move to the
So-
next one.
Let's move to the next one, exactly.
So, instant transfer market buying options.
Wait, there's one that I wanted to highlight, it's true. It's just a quick one, but I think this one needs to be mentioned.
Yeah, I was wondering about that one too. I must have been very much in need of that player.
Okay,
So this one,
Okay.
the idea is that we have seen that in platforms like eBay that you can have a bid war, but you can also set up a second price that someone can just buy the player for that one. So I said that, okay, the bid wars can start from 1 million, but if someone pays 3 million, he can take it right now without waiting the 3 days of deadline. Yeah,
think
it's
that's interesting.
it has a loophole. It has some side effects that I can see a lot of tickets towards to our GMs about cheating accusations. So that's something we need to consider. It's not always clear if there is a real purchase or something that the two made up to.
I mean,
Yeah.
we would need to be sure about the price prediction there, so that we could keep it in a range that was safe, so to say. And that's notoriously hard to do. But
In this one, about the groups, supporters and top players, like top division players, they didn't really want to see that. They have less. It wasn't like a clear change, like the player loan, for example, but it was less enthusiasm about it.
but maybe it would be allowed only like for like up to a certain level, and then only like for age ranges that is easy for us to predict the value. So like not the best players that would not be covered by this, for example. I mean,
Yeah.
there are ways to limit it so that it would not be so risky. But yeah, it's not about to happen. Anyway.
This one, this is also, I thought that was really clear from the definition of the question, but we got some forum comments from users that seemed that they didn't understand that. I mean, we mentioned that as a separate league, as something that will not be on the same team, like having both male and female players on the same team on the same market. So as like a separate league that we are gonna have that. However, we got people complaining about having both genders in the same team. Yeah, it's a nice graph. We can see that we have either people that love it or hate it, and those that always vote for neutral. The nice hint here is that both new and supporters kind of like it more, so that the trend swap a little bit. And yeah, I mean, I don't really see a problem if that's a totally separate league, that there is no conflicts. I don't see the
Yeah.
problem. Which
No, it's more. The only thing I feel is that if we do like, it's almost like a separate universe, right? I mean, it's gonna be, and then maybe we should. Then we have the opportunity to do things a little bit differently in that universe, because it would be the first time we like start something from scratch, totally from scratch, since 1997. So it would be interesting to do some changes to the main mechanics of the game at the when you have that opportunity, and not just do exactly the same game. But yeah, it's a big discussion.
yeah,
Any
there is
comments?
one Tasos. Would that women's league work like HT-International? Who knows? I mean, most of them we haven't really designed them. It's just like ideas that came up from users, and we just always rejecting them because we felt that no one wants them. We haven't got into the board and start deciding how these things will be. But the Hattrick International, they operate on the same market, so I would say not exactly like this. It could be not connected with national teams, not with HT Masters, and definitely, actually, probably a different transfer market. But yeah, um, we haven't designed anything to give you a clear answer on that one.
This is something that I really agree with, because implementing like a new parallel universe would be maybe not experiments, but new things. Those things that maybe you wanted to implement, but the game didn't allow it because it was built in a certain way. Then you can do it just a little bit different here. And of course, it would be optional to join this women's league. The problem, of course, would be what LA Alpa, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
that's a big
all,
problem.
yeah, all our texts are based on male, like, and we know that there are many languages that are gender based, so it will enormous work for them.
Yeah. Okay. Next one.
Yeah, that's
This
a
one.
really nice one. It's clearly nothing we can say here. So the idea is that we have a more like faster, like more rapid aging on the players. So instead of having the full circle of birthday in one season, they have it like in half. So you start training a player, and they end up 30 years old in half of the time. Yeah, that's a clear no. It was the same for every group, so I don't think I need to try to explain anything. Whoever see the graph is, I mean, we cannot even see the actual numbers there in the positive side. It's so tiny.
I think it's quite clear.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Keep things interesting.
So that's a nice. This is something that I have seen a lot of times in global. It has been brought up in backstage as well, and something that I see value. So the idea is not the same, because many people confuse it with stamina. So it's not about the game, the match itself, but how often you use that player. After a while, he just lose the energy. I kind of like it. So yeah, there are many things to consider, but we can see that there's no clear consensus across the groups, neither on the overall users. So I would say Many like it, many don't. It's the devil lives in the details, as we used to say. So we might end up with a really nice feature, or we can mess up. So yeah, but I don't see that as a clear no.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's quite interesting.
yeah, that's something. But I also like one. So basically, the players would need vacations. So yeah, if you have and this is something I always mention in the forum, and I really 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 want to see that sometime in the future, that we have more broad players. Like the team are not 20 players. Like I have 11 players and there's some subs and that's it. You barely see teams with two really decent goalkeepers, and I don't blame them. They are super expensive. They cannot buy them. But with the right changes, you might end up having like multiple players from the same position, so you can iterate them. That will somehow help that. But yeah, the cold start will be really difficult. I mean, you cannot really buy that players right now.
Okay.
Then the last one is the one that Fabri, I cannot pronounce the name, but have asked I think 3 times in the chat, and he really likes it. Limitless. That was kind of wrong choice for the word, because what we wanted to test is a higher limit, but in the title we said limitless. So yeah, the point is not having unlimited additional teams, but instead of just 3, you can go to 4, 5, 6. Define the limit here as we want to. Yeah, we can see that some users, a lot of users don't like it. We have a lot of them that are neutral. The interesting thing is, and some kind of expected, that if we limit this to supporters only, then the graph somehow swapped. So it's many supporters wants more and don't want less. So
Who's not a supporter doesn't want the supporters having more teams. That is probably the reason.
I don't really see any serious drawback, but yeah, it's up to us to decide if we want to do something like that.
And going back to the previous one, there's still some interesting comments, like this one, which I think it should would avoid playing the same players, or 1 to 3 players that you really like, they're the best, playing them every 90 minutes of every single match. So that's something that's interesting in the tactical side. And also, we have this comment by Papamish, which seems very interesting.
Or a team building event. Send them to
Nice.
Bahamas or something like that. But yeah, taking the previous comment one step further, is that I always read comments from users claiming that okay, I got 2 injured players and now I cannot compete because I don't have any forward left. Well, who's the problem? What I mean, who did something wrong here? Of course, you can say that you cannot buy more players, but you need to decide if you want to lower your standards, buy more players with less skills, and have this flexibility, or buy just 2, 3 of them and be open on the case that you get injured a lot. Yeah, that's not a situation that we can have now, but with all those ideas of fatigue, of broader squads, that's where we could go, like not taking this kind of strategic decisions, and make sure that you don't play always the same 11 players.
And going back to the limiters, additional teams, or not limitless, but higher limit, lots of questions.
That's Johan. I just see a hand like that frozen. So
Yeah. But maybe if he just we unmute his
Yeah,
mic.
exactly. I was muted. Yeah, no, it's not a red line. I think, I mean, I think it's a little bit case by case, but I mean, no, there's the point is that there should be a chance to create a local community in a country. But if there's never any local community emerging, I don't think it has to be always 50%. So it's not a red line. No.
Any other comments here that you find interesting?
just to mention that was the last question. So I think we can open it up, and if anyone has any specific question for any other question before that didn't get an answer or wants to just ask it now, that was the end of the survey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you mark the last one?
Yes.
Yeah, this one. So yeah, we know that sponsors is something we are gonna work in the near future, and that means that when we finish with the current discussions in backstage, that's one of the next discussions. And the idea is that we want to provide more trade-offs, make that more meaningful choices, not no-brainers. So we will need your help. You will need your ideas, and I'm really fond on co-designing there. So I invite everyone who wants to. We are gonna have it really soon. So we should expect a change sometime in the. I don't want to give a date, but sometime in the future, it's decided.
There are some long comments.
Yeah.
Once we finish reading.
What about the fixed youth leagues? Yeah, I mentioned earlier that's something we want to discuss in backstage and also internally. I mean, we want to make youth be fun, and actually, that's an idea that we know that Hattrick is a cyclical game. You play, you compete, and then you need to go in hibernation mode. That you need to train your players, prepare for the future. And if we don't want to break that cycle, if we don't want to change how the game it is, we need to do something for that hibernate status. So having a more fun and engaged youth academy system is one idea that we can consider.
Many more comments. There's this one, for instance. It's covering your face, sorry, but in Hattrick, you go online twice a week. It's too low and people lose engagement. What do you think? Because everyone plays Hattrick in a different way.
Yeah, I think that's okay. Go, Johan.
No, I mean we recently discussed this, and I think there is ways to break. I mean, one thing was introducing more matches, like that we have discussed already today, and that has risks. But another way is to portion out the stuff that happens during the week into more events, and not all of those events you need to react to immediately. So it could be, I mean, a training update could happen in more steps, like after each match, for example, like it is in youth, and the same with other stuff in the game. So there could be also maybe one more decision point that could happen, and that you need to react to within a few days. So that I would like the feeling that you come onto the site and there is something new to consider every day at least, but maybe you don't have to act every day. So I like the idea. I think it would be nice to do a little bit more like that. Yeah. What do you say, Tasos? Do you agree?
No, no. I mean, I kind of agree with one of the comments that HT is a sandbox that some ways a player must discover his own path. I don't think that this is by definition that you only log in 2 times. You log in as many times as you want to. There is always something you need to do. You can search the transfer market. You can play with your youth team. You can have a tournament with a friend. You can engage with the community. But as you said, like we can break out events, give reasons for you to join without actually double the amount of work that you need to do.
Okay, there's one directed to me that I think I have to reply. I will be really concise. No way. I hate that song. Sorry, I hate it. And for this one, I think it's a green screen.
I have to say here, I mean, I hired you because of that song. So we have a problem here. We have different expectations. We should have
Okay, I'm gonna
discussed
show. I'm gonna show it's a green screen.
Mhm.
So, what a green screen it is. Yeah. But no, I'm not gonna play. Sorry. And I lost my voice like 2 weeks ago, and I'm still recovering it. What else?
So
Some
we need
interesting
an
ones.
HT-Chase is even cooler than I thought. Please mark this one.
Oh, thank you. I needed that after the discussions today at the forum. Okay. What else? I think there are a couple of comments that are long that could be interesting, but I don't know if they are like something that we want to talk about because it could be long answers. What do you think?
Yeah, a few ones, maybe at least. My family is not giving me trouble yet, so we can spend a few more times. What were you thinking about? What questions?
For instance, this one that will cover completely Tasso's face.
Mhm.
Have you thought about game visualization, having some animations that could help people engage with the game, feature stadiums, kits, logos, etc.? It's a long work, of course. Could be doable.
Well, I can say that we have stuff in the pipeline about the kits and the logos. So I mean, we're walking the path there towards increasing the customization choices, and we always want to integrate it better with each other. So, like if you design a logo that you can see it in other places on the site. So I mean, in one way we are doing it, but not in terms of the match visualizations. We don't have anything in the pipeline right now. And as we have seen from this survey, it's not the most promising path for us to take either, maybe. But of course, you can visualize it better as text. That I totally agree with. But
Okay, there's this one which I will need to translate. We will go through all the results in the end. Maybe not, but maybe we can like upload them somewhere.
Well,
It's a long. The thing is that it's a long piece of
yeah,
a big document, and
the stream is going to be available also, so you can always go through it afterwards. But
the important thing is that we should bear in mind all the comments, especially all the comments that Tasos has been saying, because there are some interpretations, some things that we should take into account when trying to understand all these results.
Yeah.
What else? This one.
Yeah, I think there was another comment earlier saying that Hattrick is a long-term game until you realize that. If you expect instant gratification, instant results, yeah, it's hard to understand. But it's not the game that you are gonna play while waiting the bus station for 5 minutes. It's something that you need to invest. It's not for everyone. I mean, there are people out there that like this, and this is our target group. But I don't think gamers that want to play something for a week and that's it and finish it will be the Hattrick that will find what they are looking for.
What else? The next one, for instance, I think we can reply to this one in a little bit ambiguous way because we're still building it. But the plan, I think, would be like to be much more consistent than we've been lately. It's not difficult, and yeah, to do things like this one, trying to engage the people, and we've also actually planned 2 previous streams that we couldn't carry out. One was for the Hattrick Masters final, and I think it was this one in which I completely lost my voice that very day, so we couldn't carry it out. And we had also thought about another one last week, and we couldn't carry it out. So finally, this is the first one, and I think we're intending to do many more.
It's our Christmas present promise that we will do at least one more stream. we will
Next year.
No, we will
One
be
next
more,
year.
we will be more consistent in the coming year. Absolutely.
Yeah, we will try.
But we're not ready to commit to a number of streams per month or something like that. But we'll try. We'll try to find the level.
Mm-hmm. And this one.
I mean, I can tell you, everyone, that I had sleepless nights trying to figure out what is the best solution for a problem that we have. I mean, it might look easy, but in the end, there are so many paths that you need to consider, so many different personas, so many different group of users, and if you try to please everyone, then you literally cannot do it.
Yes,
And we can see that from the survey. There are so many different views of the same ideas.
Yeah, and yeah. I could experience it today, with the poll on Instagram, which I wanted to announce in global, and then some people got angry because the poll was being done on Instagram and not in the forum. And yeah, it was more like something to promote the game rather than a poll to choose. But yeah, it's true. It could have been done in the forum, and we did actually in the end. But at the same time, there were lots of people who really enjoyed that. The fact that we had created that poll, and they thought that it was a great idea. So as with everything, there are many kinds of users, many kinds of people, and it's impossible to please everyone. And I will also highlight this question, which is related to what I'm saying. And it's a little bit similar to what I expected, yes. Of course, I've been playing Hattrick for years, and I've been very active in the forum, so I knew what I was, what was ahead of me. And positives, lots of positive sides. Actually, I love the fact of having to create things for the game every day, continually thinking about things that we could do to engage the people. And sites that I didn't expect, not at the moment. Not at the moment. So I think I'm having a great time. That's for sure. What else?
Good.
Do you have any other comments that you want to highlight? Because, of course, when I'm talking, I'm not reading the comments.
Maybe if we keep it to 1 hour 30 minutes, maybe we push some to make a last minute question.
Okay, this one, for instance.
I was just gonna suggest that one. That is, of course, not hard at all. I would say that's. I mean, I guess we have just don't wanted to overcrowd. Maybe that's at an early point there was some kind of server limitation that we wanted. We didn't want to overdo it, but my feeling is that this would be easy to implement. So if we can just verify that that's the case, and if it makes streamers happy, I would be happy to do it.
Yeah, I think it would be good for us if we do one of those streams.
Yeah,
that we would like to do someday. What else? There's another one directed to me. I've seen it before. Yeah. Are you a strategic player with big plans? I am a strategic player with lots of love towards my players. So that's a problem. I get fond of my players and I don't want to sell them. So I will never get, to the top divisions, that's for sure. But I love tactical side of it. I love buying players, improving my team. So yes, I would say that I'm a hardcore player in that sense. But of course, I don't want to get to the top because of that, because I would feel like throwing my players away and buying them and using them, and no, I don't like that. I'm a romantic in that side.
Maybe we have a big news coming that you would enjoy. I don't know.
Okay, what's that?
Maybe something for next stream.
Okay. Maybe. Okay.
Maybe.
What else do we have here? Oh, there are lots of comments, very interesting ones.
Yeah, there is about the anniversary teams.
Yeah, the recurring one.
That's a good thing to finish off with, maybe.
I'm losing track of all the comments.
Yeah, there are many different aspects of
yeah.
that. We have the answers for some of them, but we think that I don't think we will be able to keep those teams. No one, it's not a final decision, but what we can tell you is that early next year, and by early I mean like January, February, we are going to have an official announcement about all the different aspects of what will happen with anniversary teams. And I know that many people ask about keeping players, keeping teams. What about achievements, trophies? Those are a few of the questions, and we'll try to answer all of them at once. So we just don't want to spread everywhere in different places the answers, since there are many users interested about it. So we are gonna stick to an official announcement in a month or two, but yeah, as soon as possible.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's pretty perfect. We just hit 1 hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, there are lots of unreplied questions that we could reply maybe another day on our next stream. Because all the questions are really interesting, and I'm sorry that we cannot reply to all of them.
Yeah, but I mean, the tendency is that on these streams, many questions come back, right? So it's better that we focus on one theme per stream, and then maybe we can, some of these questions we can come back to on another stream and actually answer them in depth.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, there's another important thing to say today, and that is that we wish everyone a very, very, very fantastic Christmas.
Of course.
Right? Yeah.
And happy holidays generally if you didn't
Mhm.
celebrate Christmas, etc.
Yeah. And you can't see it because my image is frozen, but I've been sitting here with a Santa hat during the whole stream.
Oh, damn it. Well, maybe you can wear it on now. Now we can see you. You can wear it on now.
Okay, I just took it off. Sorry.
Okay, so let's wrap it up then. Thank you everyone for being here. And thank you, of course, for all your questions, your feedback. Thanks for voting. Thanks for expressing your opinions. And of course, as we said, happy holidays. And I'll see you around in the next stream. Okay?
Cheers.
Cheers,
Bye.
everyone.
God jul.